This month, there are a few things that I really want to track. I think that keeping some top of mind items in my planner and seeing how often I'm doing them is going to help a lot with both my physical and mental health. So I am going to do a little bit of magic here and create a habit tracker in 10 seconds or maybe 15, I don't know. We'll see what the video editor wants to do with this. And then I will go through what I'm tracking and why for the rest of this month and a little bit into next month. I have no idea how the Plum people, they managed exactly 31 boxes here. Like, how did they do that? They must have known, right? In case anybody happened to want to track something, but okay. Why do I love planners and I don't own a ruler? Why do I have so many office supplies and not one of those things is a ruler? Okay, I hope this isn't clumsy, but if it is, just bear with me. I'm so nervous right now. Okay, you know what? If it's ugly, it's still going to track. This is still functional, even if it's ugly. Okay, just write the line. Just do it. Okay. Oh, writing straight lines is so hard. Okay, I'm just gonna fix this because that 2 is kind of like stuck there. Okay, these lines, I cannot imagine using a ruler for each of these. I will tell you that if you are a person who loves the idea of having a habit tracker, but this is unbearable, the idea of what I'm doing right now is torturous, I recommend getting free ones online. They also have a couple of cheap couple dollar templates on Etsy. Sometimes you can also buy habit tracker stickers. I have some old ones, but decided not to use them because I've had them for like maybe 10 years. I've been a sticker planner person for a long time and some of my old stickers are starting to lose their stick. So because of that, I decided not to use them, so I'm making this. But if this is so brutal to watch and it sounds even more brutal to make, there are other ways to do this without writing one yourself. And like I said a moment ago, if it's ugly, it still works. Okay, I'm gonna do a brief check-in and make sure that these, I didn't miscount, there are actually 31 boxes here. Okay, good. Okay, taking a moment also while I'm working on this, sorry I'm not looking at you because I'm drawing. Taking a moment to tell you also, before I made this, I was pretty confident of what I wanted to track. What I thought if I tracked and was successful, maybe even making this video as a little bit of accountability too, would have the biggest impact. But I did get on Reddit just to see, I saw this thread that was like, what are you tracking on your habit tracker? And I just want to point out that if you're new to tracking, or this is like a little intimidating to you, I might do a habit tracker for 1 to 3 things. I saw someone's list that had like 14 things on the habit tracker and I was like, I would be so stressed trying to track all of that it would defeat the purpose of trying to make me feel better. So just wanted to throw that out there, that if you are someone that's like, I might like to track something, my recommendation would be to pick the thing that is in your mind going to be most impactful and do that. If you are a person that you're like, I am having crazy dreams at night because I'm scrolling my phone for hours and hours, maybe the putting down your phone an hour before bed, that's something you want to track, and that is more important to you than tracking something else because that's your biggest issue. Or if you're like, I feel like I sit all day, maybe the step goal is the one that you want to focus on because that would have the biggest impact on you. So my recommendation, if you're new to this or you're overwhelmed, pick 1, 2, maybe 3 things, but don't go for 10, 12, 14 things. Even 7 things is a lot. You're gonna wind up potentially doing more harm than good if you're tracking too much. Also, you'll notice that I said I don't have a ruler, I'm using this. I saw some friends that love planners as well, and we did this like 8 years ago, but we hadn't seen each other in a while, and we got together and we did a sticker draft. This is when you go to Michael's and you get some of these, like the Happy Planner sticker books. Usually they have like 30 sheets, and then you go to Starbucks and you get Starbucks or at a coffee shop of your choice, and you take all of these out and then I'm laughing so much thinking about this because we're like 3 adult women in Starbucks with a table full of stickers and no one's looking, but it was so joyful, but it's funny to describe. So you take all of your stickers and you just go around and you draft 2 at a time. So you take 2 until you get to the last 6 sheets. Usually the last 6 sheets, I wouldn't say are the ones that nobody wants, but they're the ones that might be a little less exciting. So then on the count of 3, you take your fingers and you point to the 2 that are your top choice and you distribute that way. So anyway, I'm laughing because it's genuinely something that is so fun and makes me so happy, but it's very funny to describe. So this is my miscellaneous sticker packet from the recent January 2025 sticker draft. You can see here, actually, I'll show you here. I'll take a little hiatus from my habit tracker, but it's nice because then you can pick all of the ones you like and you get miscellaneous. So I've got like some holiday ones. I'm a big, as you all know, floral lover. Cannot wait to bring the fall ones out. This is so sweet. Penny's going to kindergarten this year, so I definitely wanted the back to school ones, lots of fall. I'm not really like a summery, like the popsicle type one, but you know, that was towards the end. I love these ones. I don't know, they're just fun. So anyway, I don't really buy stickers a ton anymore, but this is a fun event if you have friends that also love planners. So anyway, there you have it. All right, so as you can see, we got here and I made a little mistake. Everything should have been shifted up 1. So that is my fault. No big deal though, because we will just do our best. Like I said, it does not have to be perfect to be functional. So I am just gonna draw this line and make my own one below it, and we will do our best. Okay, it's done. I just sorted through all of my stickers and I decided not to put anything else on here. I love the idea of, a lot of times since I'm a floral person, I will trim and do a border, but I'm like, you know what? It looks good, it's clean, I'm not gonna mess with it. So thank you for following along with that. That was my fun little, more than 10 seconds, I lied, creation of the habit tracker. So I wanna tell you what I'm gonna track for the next month, and then in a month I'll come back and I'll tell you how impactful each of these felt to me. So let me start with no social media for 12 hours, like maybe 8 in the morning till 8 p.m., 7 in the morning until 7 at night. Just being off of social media the whole day. You know, sometimes you look, you know, first thing in the morning, or, you know, you're looking on your lunch break, or, you know, maybe it's the weekend and all of a sudden you're done scrolling and it's been 2 hours. And there are so many reasons that that's just terrible for you. And aside from the obvious things like comparison and politics and just like all of the things that are so crazy on the internet nowadays, you also, I don't know if you feel like this, but sometimes you spend so much time scrolling that after 30 minutes or an hour even, you know, which is a really long time, you come out of it and you're like, you almost feel like you've been physically in a different place. It reminds me of Ready Player One when they're in, what was that called, babe?
Oasis.
The Oasis. It reminds me of, if you've read that book, they're like in the Oasis and I'm like, I feel like I'm transported into a different place and not in a good light. I'm also not shaming anybody who scrolls because I scroll and I will continue to scroll with this, but can I be more mindful? Another thing too is that there is also the argument of like, well, don't you want to stay informed? Yes, but one of my friends recently pointed out that you get your news and you choose, you know, who you're going to follow, you know, how often you're going to check, but at a certain point, you're reading the same thing over and over and over again if you're on all the time, that you're like, if I check this twice a day, maybe that's all I need to do, right? And that's me just talking about the news cycle, right? So I'm certainly not telling you do not stay informed, but maybe you don't need 5 hours a day. I know I certainly need to cut back. The other thing too is, and I think this is easier now maybe than it used to be, but the comparison piece of just like, oh, their life looks so perfect. You just don't need to see every single thing that everybody's doing all the time. Like, it's nice to get on and be like, oh, that person looks really happy. They're on vacation. They're celebrating a birthday, whatever. But when you spend so much time on it, you're like, why am I spending so much time on what everybody else is doing rather than just living my own life? So anyway, those are my thoughts. Maybe you share them, maybe you don't. Anyway, I'd love to know if you feel like social media is a problem for you, or you're just like, no, I'm good. So, or maybe you go in cycles and seasons when it is or when it isn't. So I'm gonna try that and see how that feels. So that is thing number one that I'm tracking. All right, the next two I'm gonna talk about at the same time, 7,000 steps and 10 minutes of exercise a day. So I am more sedentary now than I was, let's say like 10 years ago, just lifestyle. And I'm starting to feel it. I'm getting in my late 30s now, and I just feel so grateful every day to age, honestly. Like I feel grateful every morning to wake up, So I think it's a great thing. That said, as you get into your late 30s and I guess probably 40s and 50s, like as you age, your body feels different. Things that were fine in your early 30s, you're like, wow, that hurts a little bit more. That's a little bit harder to do. And I just want to be more active. So I set my goal at 7,000 steps because I think that is more reasonable than 10,000. And I heard, and I need to dig into this, that 10,000 steps a day was something that was like a marketing plan created by a pedometer company. So I'm like, well, are those steps arbitrary? So I am going to go for 7,000 steps a day and 10 minutes of exercise. So back at the beginning of the pandemic, Peloton offered 3 months of free Peloton. And this is probably widely known now, but you don't need any of their equipment to do. They have so many workouts that you can do with no equipment. So a lot of times if I'm like, okay, I don't want to think about this, I'll just put on a 10-minute bar video. And when I do that, I feel so good. Like I feel like my neck doesn't hurt. I'm less likely to injure my lower back when I sneeze funny. Like I said, welcome to your late 30s. So anyway, I'm curious also if I do this, if I'm like, you know what, 10 minutes is good. Maybe I'll do 15. Maybe I'll do 20. So anyway, those two go in tandem because I think that doing a little bit more physical activity is going to make me feel a lot better. All right, a couple more left. Next one is email unsubscribes. So my husband heard on a podcast or in a newsletter that he reads, it was a tip to start unsubscribing from emails. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to track how many emails I unsubscribe from this year. So it'll probably be more of like the start of the year because you'll get to a point where you're like done unsubscribing. But I have been doing it for the entire month of February and I've already unsubscribed from 52 email lists. And I still get a lot of emails, nothing compared to what it was, but it really makes you think. Like I was getting emails from Insomnia Cookies, Bang Cookies, Edible Arrangements, what else? Like Pro Flowers, 1-800-Flowers, Flowers Free, like six gifting, like of cookies and flowers. And I'm like, if I need to send a gift, I'm always in my mind, like, let me just send a gift and I just get online. I'm never like, oh, I got an email, so maybe I will go online and buy something. And then sometimes you're like, but sometimes you do get emails that make you buy something and you're like, why am I buying so much stuff? So anyway, I have been just like, as they've come in, continuing to unsubscribe. Now I'm like, could I unsubscribe from 100 email lists? I don't know if that's too many, but I'm at 52 already. So I'm going to track for the rest of this month and I will be back and let you know, but already unsubscribing from 52 email lists this year, it has drastically changed. Like I don't wake up to hundreds of emails in the morning anymore and it is amazing. So I can't wait to continue with that one. Next is days singing. On one hand, I was like, there are a lot more productive or important things that I could be tracking. But then I was like, I think that if I sang every day, I would be so happy. There is something so freeing about like when you've sang a song and you're just like, that was so fun. I don't perform anymore. I did for a long time and I loved it and I miss it so much. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop everything entirely. I've even thought about taking voice lessons again, just for fun, just to get out of the house and do something that I enjoy. But I was like, I could do that. And that might bring me as much joy as not scrolling on social media and taking walks and being outside and not getting a million emails. So, there are other things going on in my life right now where I'm like, no, like track how many hours a day you're studying for this certification test that you want to take. And I'm like, right, but like I'm going to study. I don't know if that's going to be daily. Is that worth it? But like if I sang for 3 minutes every day, if I picked one song, like that would be so fun. So anyway, I have that. And then the last thing is that I want to make sure that I am being more mindful in general of my consumption of just stuff. There are times when you buy stuff and you're like, I needed that, obvious, like groceries, deodorant, whatever. But I recently started calculating how many items I purchased from Amazon in 2023 and 2024. And wow, it is not great. I'm not saying that I'm never gonna buy from them because I don't think that's practical, but I need to cut back a lot. I need to sit down because I started and I keep starting and stopping and starting over because of the categorization. I want to be like, this was a gift, but was it a holiday gift or was it a birthday gift? Was it a gift for a family? Was it a gift for my child? You know, was this a necessity? Was this it was like something that I wanted, but it wasn't a need? Like, so I need to sit down and do it to find out how many things I actually purchased per year for the last 2 years. But I think that I would love to, at the end of this year, see that I was down like 50% or more. And one thing that I did actually, this is like the start of this, is I muted all influencers. Now, I wasn't following a ton of influencers, but maybe like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them, and they're all super cute and they all share super cute things, but like, I would buy a sweater and then I would wear the sweater and it was like kind of a junky one, and then like in 6 months I would get rid of it. So I'm not saying I couldn't buy stuff, but I'm like, why am I doing this? And am I getting more excitement and joy from being like, ooh, I'm shopping, I'm looking at stuff, I'm getting a deal, than from actually buying something? So I'm not saying you shouldn't get things online, but I have spiraled is exactly what I'm saying. So I am keeping track of that this month, and when I buy something, asking like, is this a need? Is this the best place to buy it? Is there a better place to get it? So that is the last thing that I will be keeping track of this month. It doesn't have a typical line the way the other 5 do, just because I'll tally when I make those purchases. So there you have it. It is, you know, nothing fancy. I've seen some really beautiful ones where it's almost like a circle and it goes for 30 days. But you know what? This is gonna work, and I'm really excited about tracking these things. I think if I can keep focused and do a good job, that I will feel really good at the end of the month. And I'm excited to make this video because I feel like it's a little, like I said earlier, a bit of accountability, because I have to come back in a month and tell you what happened with this. So anyway, it's been really fun being back, and thank you for being part of it. So if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.